What's going on, everybody? We are back. Thank you all for tuning in. This is once again still Knicks Fans Weekly. You know, you see it. Ron and John back once again on this Labor Day. We shouldn't even be working, but the boss, he drives a hard bargain. You know what I mean? So good thing we out here, and we're able to do something, continue to bring content to you guys, and hopefully everybody out there had a great Labor Day. The weather was beautiful. It was supposed to rain, but it held off. Although it's going to pour tonight, but whatever. That's good. That's good sleeping weather. Anyway, John, how you doing? How was your Labor Day, boss?
Oh, it's nice and relaxed, man. I've been chilling. I'm on vacay myself, kind of staycation.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Kids getting
nice.
back to school this coming week, so I got to get everybody acclimated once more. So back to the routine. You know what I mean? But for the most part, it's been a relaxed weekend. So, just chilling, man. Just chilling.
That's very nice, man. I like to hear it. Listen, man. Hey, when you can have fun and enjoy yourself and take it easy and not have to worry about going nowhere, you don't got to worry about park. Well, you don't have to worry about that, but you know what I mean. Like you don't got to do all that hassle and drive nowhere.
Right.
You can just stay home. That's fantastic, man. So good for you, brother.
Yeah,
Good for
man.
you.
Yeah, man.
Um, so I'm just, don't mind me if I'm tripping a little bit because I might be bugging out, but I'm just checking this. We live, man, because I gotta put that out there. We live. I'm just checking and looking at the stream, and I don't see it happening right now. I don't know if it started going. It could be on my end. Maybe it's my computer.
Right. It's, let's get a
Yeah, I
check in
still
with
got.
Jose on the back on the ones and twos because our guy Jose is back from vacation.
Hey, Jose in the building.
So
All right.
about the stream.
Okay, yeah, I got it. All right,
Nah, I'm joking. I'm
this
joking.
is
We're live.
weird.
We're live. We're live, man.
Yeah, but you know what's weird is like we live, but I can't see it like on my end on the computer, like when I go pull it up. But it is what it is. I see it on the phone. I don't know. All right. Well, I hope everything goes good. I hope I'm not having any internet spikes going on here because if y'all lose me, y'all know it was slowly building. Anyway, all right, y'all. So thank y'all for being here once again. We got another jam-packed show. We got another special guest in the building. So without further ado, let's welcome my guy Andre Jalil in the building from Garden Up Knicks.
I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you, fellas.
Welcome,
I'm
welcome.
excited to be here. I saw that intro. We got the animations. We got music. I gotta call Josh up and tell him. I gotta call up Apollo. Tell him we gotta step our game up with the stream and all of that. You guys are doing. You got Jose in the back. You know what I mean? I'm gonna talk to
Yeah,
brother and be
man.
like, look, we gotta step it up a little bit over there at Guard Up Knicks. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, man. We are happy to have this type of setup and blessed, and
It's
hopefully
real
keep it
dope.
going and keep expanding, man. And
Appreciate it.
and and
Real
thank you
dope.
for being here because honestly, this is a long time coming. I
Right.
have been meaning to get you guys on here for a minute ever since we met up and went to the opening night at the game
Yeah,
last
yeah,
year.
yeah. At the
You know what I
game,
mean?
we had a good time
Yeah.
too. For
Yes,
real.
we did. Yes, we did. So it's been a
Sure.
long time coming. I'm just glad it could happen. I want it to happen again because the next time we do it, I want to make sure I got you, Apollo, and Rick in the building. So it'd be pretty dope. And just getting off the straight off the bat, because another reason why I wanted you here is because I also want more people to see what Guard Up Knicks got going on, because Guard Up Knicks is popping, and I want
Right.
more eyes on Guard Up Knicks. So I'm hoping that we can help out a little bit with still Knick fans, and get more people interested, subscribing
I
and
appreciate
liking the
that, Ron.
content you guys put out there.
We appreciate that. I'm sad the other guys couldn't be here, but I'm here to represent for the fellas. But I really appreciate that. Apollo's working hard. I call him Josh, so I try to say Apollo because he's my
I
brother.
got you.
So I
Yeah,
call him
right,
his
right, right.
name, like Josh. But I really appreciate it. What we going through as Knicks fans. Everybody get their little piece of what they like from this podcast and that podcast and this one and that one. And everybody picks their favorites, or they might just dip and dab in different ones. So you know what I mean. I think it's real
Mm.
good, and I love Knicks fans. I just feel like there's something faithful about Knicks fans. You know what I mean. We go through all of the things we go through, and we still here and we stick with it. You know what I'm saying? So my brother moved out of state. He's still a Knicks fan, and he tells me about how he gets looks from guys, And they're like, for real, Knicks. And it's just like, come on, man, leave me alone, you know. So even me here in New Jersey now, you know what I mean? I'm like 30 minutes from the Garden, but I'm in New Jersey. And I still get the lay like, come on, man. I'm like, y'all just mad y'all ain't got a team out here no more. They moved to Brooklyn, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of hate out there.
That was part of why we called ourselves still Knicks fans, right? Because of that reason alone. That's how we came up with it, because we were thinking of names ourselves, and we were like, well, what can we call this show? And it's like, well, we've been Knicks fans forever. Whether we're going to be good or not, you know, we're always going to be still Knicks fans. And then just kept coming up. So it was like, you know what? That's it. That's the one.
That's what's up.
That's a fact.
Sorry, Ron. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you good. You good. You got to listen. You know how it is, man. I'm always in like, what's next to say? You know, you jump in, man. You know how it is, John. We do this in real life too. So
true.
So I wanted to ask you, Andre, how long have you known Apollo and Rick?
We're family my entire life.
No, I know. I'm messing with you. I just wanted to throw.
Oh, I'm about to say.
I know that.
Yeah. Josh is my little brother. I got him about almost 10 years. Ricky is my cousin. My mother, our mother, and his mother are sisters. So you know that's how that always has gone. Me and Ricky, our birthdays are a couple days apart. And it was just, and me and my brother have always been Knicks fans, or not always been. I would say we always like basketball fans. Like when I was a kid and Jordan was playing, that I was like a big Jordan fan, and he happened to play for the Bulls and he played against the Knicks and all of that stuff. But after Jordan retired, I was like, all right, I got to stick with the home team. It was like since then. And Apollo was always the guy who was, I always had him watching the games with me. And it was natural. It wasn't like I forced him into it. You know, we were into basketball. So we grew up talking about basketball, playing ball. I think on his 18th birthday was the first time he actually beat me. We played in the backyard. My mom's had a hoop up in the backyard and all of that. And he might tell you that he won't. I let him get that one. That was his 18th birthday. So
there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that we've always been fans of the game, and and so it just turned into my brother had the idea to do the NothinButKnicks podcast. I'm in there, you know what I mean, and I actually can't be on as much as I like because of my work schedule. I work the evenings. I work the 3:30 to midnight schedule. You know what I'm saying, for the most part. So weekends I could be there, but there's always with the kids and different things that happens. A lot of times things don't work out the way you want it to. So I try to do as much as I can. And a lot of times I do the artwork. If you hear the track that plays in the background, I did the track for like the podcast and stuff like that. So always trying to support and help and do whatever I can to help my brother with his dream and us all being a team and it being family and having that unique aspect of it,
That's
right.
dope.
That's dope. So I wanted to say that the question, like I said, was a little bit of a joke. I already knew the dynamic, but I also wanted to highlight the dynamic because I think it makes y'all different. It makes y'all special, which is also something that I think I can have with John here because, I call John my brother. I mean, we not biological brothers, but we that
another mother.
Like that. It's
mean?
that thing. Like we grew up.
We don't look alike.
Oh, my bad. Oh, sorry.
You didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't want to tell you, man. Damn.
That was
bro.
Break it to you on the podcast. He didn't know this, but we're not really brothers.
I'm sorry, bro. My bad. All right.
That's like the Dave Chappelle episode when he didn't know he was black.
Yeah, right. We're gonna have to talk after the show, I guess. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I got some catching up to do.
So we have that dynamic, and I really think 100% that lends to how good our show can be when we're hitting on things and the chemistry we have because we already have that relationship that we're really close. So. And and you guys are family. And that's why when y'all talking, it's funny because I could see this is like y'all could be in the backyard talking. You could be at a barbecue with the family. This is the same conversation. You know what I mean?
Right. 100%. 100%.
I just want to know what was those conversations like when you was a Bulls fan, when you was rooting for MJ?
Well, so Joshua, my brother, 10 years, I got almost 10 years on him. So whatever I was a fan of, like he was a fan of. So like if you talk to him, and as far as let's say hip hop for an example, right? So I was listening to Snoop. My brother was like 5 or 6, So he already was like, you know how I brought him through, and he knew all about hip hop and the golden era of hip hop. So he, like, a lot of his friends don't know about hip hop and Mobb Deep before like their third or fourth album. You know what I'm saying? But Joshua was always there because I was doing it. Just like with my older sister, I was listening to De La Soul and EPMD and all of that stuff because I was exposed to it because of my older siblings. So Joshua was a Bulls fan with me, you know, because Jordan was incredible. It was hard to deny. So, you know, my brother was like a Bulls fan too, but I don't even know how he ended up becoming the Knicks fan. I don't know if he followed me into that or if he figured for himself. That's like a question we got to ask. But that was definitely a transition I made. I was like, I got to go with the home team. Like, that's just it. I'm not a fan of anybody so much that I'm going to, like, Jordan was the last one. You know what I mean? It was Jordan. If he played for the Wizards, well, he did play for the Wizards. If he played for the Wizards or, I don't know, Charlotte or whatever the case, I would have still been a Jordan fan, not necessarily a Charlotte fan. You know what I mean? So it was like, I just thought he was incredible. You know what I mean? But other than that, there's no more, you know, I know people who like are LeBron fans and they're fans of the Heat when he's with the Heat and they're fans of Cleveland when he's in Cleveland. I'm like, dude, you gotta make up your mind. Like, what you doing? Like, what are you a fan of? You know what I mean? Right. So I stick with the team. And just like you said, through thick and thin, still a Knicks fan. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, man. Your guy MJ put us through some heartache, man. I just want to say that.
But it's funny. Going to school, it was like damn near getting into fights. Because like all of my friends, you know, I'm from Harlem. So all my boys from Harlem, we going to school, they was like, yes, all right. We getting in each other's faces talking about Knicks. They were like, how you a Bulls fan? You from New York? You know, all of those.
I would have been right there along with them because that's what I was all about. I was 100%. Like, yo, that's blasphemy, man. What are you talking about? You can't be an MJ. Like, the way he used to take away our, like, he took away so much of our glory during that heyday with the New York Knicks, you know, like the Patrick Ewing and Mason and Oakley days. Like, those were the teams that were there year in and year out. And he just pretty much took those years away. Yeah, there was they were great teams, man. Great matchups, but like, you know, heartache, man. I'm telling you.
I was always nervous playing the Knicks. Always. You know, Ewing was scary. You know, Oakley, like all of these dudes, Starks, he just always came up with something magical. Like, I just thought these guys were incredible. But, you know, I was a kid. You know, my pops wasn't around to school me on what team to go with. So, you know, I figured it out. And I went with MJ. But here we are, still Knicks fans, you know.
Knicks fans. You're back.
Yeah. The prodigal son, you know.
Ron got a story, man. He was a Knicks fan, but on the low, he was always like, Scottie Pippen's my favorite player. I was like, what are you doing?
Listen, don't do me like that, John. Ain't no low. Scottie Pippen, baby. That's my dude.
Yeah?
When he used to. Yeah, no, Scottie Pippen was my favorite basketball player.
Oh, man.
Now, what do you think of Scottie Pippen talking crazy these days? He seems to be saying
no. Once again, Scottie Pippen was my favorite basketball player. As a person,
okay, not the favorite mind, not the favorite brain.
No, Scottie crazy, B. I can't rock with Yeah, that's how it is. It was weird, but, you know, I think it's probably, you know, when I grew up, I was, you know, tall and skinny, 6'5". Scottie, you know, was linky, and I don't know, there's something about his game I just like. Even though I didn't play like him, I would have loved to, but you know, there's something about his game I liked, and so that was it.
You ain't got a lot of that choice though. You was always playing the center position just because. Back in the day, it didn't matter if you could dribble or shoot. There was like, you 6'5", you go into the center position.
You talk, get in the paint,
get your ass in the paint.
I hate it.
Those are the days of me and Ron. Like, we'll be in the basketball court, he'd be like, yeah, Scottie, this. I'm like, nah. Xavier McDaniels is gonna, you know what I mean? Because Xavier was the guy. He was the only Knicks player that had Scottie shook. You know what I mean? Him and Mason. You know what I mean? But mostly it was Xavier McDaniel because he was a wild dude. Like, he was 730 for real. You know what I mean? So
for real.
You know, so yeah, that was one player that I wish the Knicks would have kept. Because if we would have kept that, we would have had something. You know what I mean? But instead, we shipped him out, and we didn't get anything really in return for him. So that was unfortunate. Oh, man. Is this a episode of Knicks and Bruises? Because I feel like it.
I feel like every episode we do is an episode of Knicks and Bruises. You know, not for nothing.
Shout out to Tony.
It just is what it. Yeah, it just is what it is, man. It just turns out that way. We just win that situation, but you know, it is what it is. That's the whole thing. That's what makes us who we are. We've gone through it, we've seen it, we've witnessed it,
Yep.
and we're still here. Why? I don't know, but we are.
Right.
I don't care. I'm a Knicks fan. It is what it is. So yeah, man, look, I just want to get this out the way early. And you know, in fairness, I'm sorry to everybody in the chat. Let's see. Dan Marrero, Stephen Vargas, Lily Phillips, Geraldine McIver, First Lady of Still Knicks fans. What's up, Geraldine? Yankees Morning Brew, my guy, Project Nerd, aka Heck in the building. Extension, Bad Boy for Life is in the building. D Nice is here. Shaw Powers, Dripmore, Kaiser Soze, Walter Butler, C_Mac, JT Riddick, Lou Memorabilia is in the building. I'm sorry, guys. Some of y'all may want to talk about Donovan. John is done with Donovan. I'm on my way out. I'm pretty much done with Donovan too. It is what it is. But I did want to talk about Danny Ainge just for a little bit, if you guys will allow me to. This Saturday on the Know the Ledge show, I don't think it was that bad, to be honest. Some people might feel like I lit into Leon Rose. So the show was mainly about, the first thing I said was, I'm okay with us not getting Donovan Mitchell. It is what it is, man. Even if you guys remember, if you pay attention to the shows, last Saturday, prior to this one, I put up 3 different rosters, and I said, which roster do you guys vote on? What would you like to see from the Knicks? The roster number 1 had the Knicks the way we are right now without Donovan, okay? So I wanted that roster. I'm okay with us not getting Donovan. What I was mad about was it just made me start thinking, like, can Leon Rose close a deal? Like, Leon Rose and Worldwide West were brought into the Knicks because of their relationships. He was an agent. Worldwide West is a man about the cities. He knows everybody. Like, the relationships that those two guys can bring, what you would think would translate to like superstars or high value free agents coming to New York, because we haven't been able to attract those guys. So when you go after a guy like Donovan Mitchell and you don't get him after a month and a half of negotiation, almost 2 months, I'm going to look at it like, I don't know. It could be Danny Ainge had a lot to play with. You know, we don't know. There's a lot of stories going on out there about how he was always trying to fleece the Knicks. He never really wanted to trade with them. But if the Knicks would have taken his offer, of course, he'll take it and fleece them. And the other side of it is, apparently, according to Rick Buchler, whatever his name is. And mind you, when I say this, I do not believe necessarily anything Rick Buchler says. He was the same person that said, 99% sure. If you guys remember, I said Stephen A. Smith said 97% sure Kevin Durant was coming to the Knicks. Rick Buchler, whatever his name is, said 99% Kevin Durant is coming to the Knicks. So I don't listen to everything this guy says, but he said that some Utah Jazz personnel, front office people, may have been unhappy with the fact that Donovan Mitchell internally wanted a trade to the Knicks. So they decided to send him to Cleveland so he doesn't get what he wants. I'm just putting it out there. That's what he said. I don't know what's true, what's not true. Okay. So if that is the case, but if it is true, then I do owe Leon Rose a little bit of an apology, because that means that he did try his hardest to bring in Donovan. He wasn't going to get fleeced, but at no point was Danny really willing to send Donovan to the Knicks. So it doesn't matter really what Leon would have done, unless he just said, you know what, here, take RJ, take this guy, take 4 draft picks, whatever. If he threw everything at him, it would have been a bad story for the Knicks. So I wouldn't have wanted it to go down that way. So if it's true, Leon, I owe you an apology. If it's not true, then technically you're still on the hot seat. I need to see you come through and bring a star here at some point, because that's what I think you can be good at because of your relationships. So that's it. I just wanted to throw that out there, my little disclaimer, and also to get your guys' take on, real quick, what do you think? Do you think Utah ever had true intentions of sending Donovan to the Knicks, or do you think this was all a little game that Danny Ainge was playing? I'll start with you, Apollo.
Apollo.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Drake.
Why am I saying Apollo? Freaking Andre. My bad, boss. You know what it is?
Gotcha.
You know what it is? It's because I keep emailing back and forth with Apollo, so that's the name I keep thinking when hey, my bad, bro.
I can totally dig it. I believe that I think, well, from it's not like I know the dude, but Danny Ainge looks and sounds like the guy that would do whatever he could to like either ruin the Knicks, because if we'd have given them more picks, because I think we would have been killed for that if we'd have gave him all these picks, 5 picks. What did they say? 3. He'd have got 3 players, 3 draft picks, 2 swaps. For me, that's too much. So I think even with that deal, it would have been a fleece. So I do think that Leon Rose, as far as you saying that Leon Rose can't close a deal, I don't think this was a deal to ever really be closed. You know what I'm saying? As you alluded to, I don't think that it was ever actually, because like I was saying to Ron, sorry, what I was saying to John. Here we go. That
hey, wait, hold on, Jose, hit it.
I corrected it quick. Yeah, there you go.
See, we fair here. We got to keep it fair.
Yeah, it's just so many things going on as far as not actually knowing what the facts are or whatever the case may be. And I was just saying I'm happy it's over because it was taking so long. Well, one of the things that we were saying, as I was saying to John before, was that it was supposed to be that RJ Barrett wasn't included in these trades. And we find out weeks later, that he was the focal point of the trade. You know what I mean? And I don't think any of the Knicks fans would have been happy with RJ going. You know what I'm saying? And getting back. I don't think that there's a big, there's so much potential. I think RJ's ceiling is so high. And I think Knicks fans know that the ceiling for him is so high because the second half of the year, he was awesome. I just saw a statistic. I forgot what this page is. And they showed Wiggins' numbers and they showed RJ Barrett's numbers for the season. And RJ Barrett outperformed Wiggins in all the categories. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that Wiggins is the biggest star or whatever the case, but he's not a slouch. And, and he helped the winning team win. So it's just like, I don't think that it was worth it I was always nervous from the beginning because although I think Mitchell is an incredible player, I don't think any of us collectively would actually think that he was going to do that much more for the Knicks, especially if we don't have RJ Barrett in the fold. So I think that as far as Leon Rose is concerned, I think that all of those things factor in. You know what I'm saying? As far as Utah wanting to fleece the Knicks, which I think he would have. Because even with the last deal that we heard of, I don't think that it would be. I think the team would still be if let's say we were going for 40 wins this season. I think the team we have now will be 40 wins. If that trade went through, it'd be a 40-win team. I don't think it would be like that. It would be the catalyst to propel us deep into the playoffs. We can say maybe that someone else would come here, but then is that a tribute to Leon Rose, or is it because now we have a star, or? You know what I mean? So I think Leon Rose is in a tough position with this trade to begin with. I just think it could have been a Utah thing against the Knicks, and it would have never actually gone through,
Right. Yeah. I hear you. John, what do you think, bro?
I think it played out the way it was meant to play out. I mean, when we look at what was offered and all of the reports after the trade was announced to Cleveland, and everything that keeps coming out, right? The original selections or trade options were Mitchell Robinson with RJ and a few others. You know what I mean? A high volume of draft picks. You know what I mean? Also including potentially Grimes in that deal. Or Obi. So I think it's important to realize that every step of the way, because at the very beginning, because of the Rudy Gobert trade, basically upped the price, right? And at every point of the way, Leon came at it with the correct approach. He said, okay, I'm going to offer this at this moment in time because this is what the market shows us that it's, you have the ability to get. So he was following the market. And at the moment that Danny Ainge and his constituents decided to not take that offer, he took a piece off that table. He said, okay, you don't want the offer now. Next couple of months or a couple of weeks, the trade value and market changed it changed in an instant, right? And then you realize that the Knicks decided to then sign, Mitchell Robinson. So now he's out the deal. And then the same goes on when they get back into talks, when they come out of vacation, and then now they include RJ Barrett for a second time. And then there's the conversation about a deadline and a timeline to be moved. And Leon puts it out there, says, hey, we need an answer by this point. Ainge doesn't agree to it or lets that time pass. And so we move RJ off the trade block and then we sign RJ. So I think it's important to see how those things played out within the market, because that shows that Leon is doing right by the Knicks. He isn't going about it where he's worried what the media has to say, or he's concerned about what he's concerned about most is the where we are as an organization. We got to stay we got to stay put where we're at within the market. If the market dictates that, hey, RJ's an option for a team, he's going to put it out there, and that's a great thing, because then no one's off limits, right? So that means if there's an opportunity to move Randall, he can go look for that, right? And so that's great for us, because we know going into the trade market or before the trade deadline, if there's a need and there's an opportunity for us to move away from some of these players that we have that currently don't fit the mold for our future, you know he's going to be out there looking for it. So in my interpretation, I think it went the way it needed to go. And so it played out the way it needed to be. And so for that, I can't fault them. I think he did a good job.
Okay. Oh, I think you're on mute, Andre. Is it just me, or can you hear him?
No, I don't hear you, Dre. Not sure if the audio clicked out.
Well, let me see here. While you're figuring that out, I agree with you, John. I think you are right. And I think as far as how the normal negotiation went, I think it did play out the way how things played out. That's it was dictated by certain steps along the way, and it changed going forward. The only thing I'm curious is the flip side of it, which is one of those things that I had asked once the trade went down, is just, do you think they also were trying to be a little spiteful with Donovan? Because that's the rumor that's coming out. I don't know. Do you think that there may be some truth to that?
That's possible. I mean, I wouldn't put it past an organization, by organization standpoint or even front office. Like, you want to be able to put yourself as an organization in the best position to win, right? Or the best position to get what you want to get out of a trade. And so when you put them side by side, after the Knicks were pulling those pieces, after Ainge decided not to take that, take the original offers, Cleveland ended up having the better package of players, and same with the picks, right? We could have probably offered a couple of more picks, but at that point, what's the point, right? Like, we're just giving up on all of the unrestricted, free agent opportunities that we have. We want to keep some of those. So in case we have the opportunity to make a trade, we can package a trade. You know what I mean? Maybe, before the trade deadline, maybe for a couple of other players. But again, I don't know if it's neither here nor there. I think it's really about what the package that was offered. I think that's really what it lent itself to. It really wasn't about being spiteful. I think predominantly it wasn't that. I think they just wanted to get the best offer that was on the table, and they chose it.
Right. Right.
So Dre, why don't you jump on out and then refresh back in? And, you know what I mean? And hopefully,
yeah. Click on the link again. That might work for you. So I think, like I said, I think you make really good points, John. I think that's like probably the most sensible way to look at everything that's going on. I mean, no matter what position you're in, whether you wanted Donovan here or you didn't want Donovan here, a lot of us still are a little emotional about how things, took place. You still like, you feel like, oh man, Danny Ainge trying to play us or what? Like, you're still gonna feel a certain way. So maybe if we take a pause and just take a chill pill and relax and look at everything like the big picture in perspective.
Right.
Listening to what John said earlier, how it played out. It played out the way it played out, and we'll just move on from it. It is what it is. You know, we can't. You can't cry over spilled milk. It is what it is. Like, you know, it just happened the way it happened. And the only thing that I would be interested to see, which I don't think I'll ever see it, because he just doesn't seem to be that type of person, is if Donovan ever says anything. Because when you're in a situation and things don't go right, sometimes when people remove themselves from that situation or are removed from it, they start to be a little bit vocal. So we'll see if he says anything. I don't think he will, but you never know. We'll see.
And to add to Donovan's allure, right? Him being a professional about it is going to speak volumes when he hits the free agent market once more. He's gonna be a 3 and gone, right? Like he's got 3 more years and then he's gone. So, or he's up for free agency, right? So with the team that they have in Cleveland, they're gonna be all right. He's gonna be playoff bound for the next 3 years. You know what I mean? Barring injury, of course. And now, can he stay healthy and continue to play all-star as an all-star? Can he play all-star caliber basketball while he's in Cleveland with these other players who are going to need, you know, their possessions to be impactful? Like Garland is a true point guard, right? So they aren't going to lean on Donovan Mitchell to play that sort of role anymore, right? At least I will assume that they won't. And then you have the young kid, Evan Mobley, who is, you know, he's a talent, right? And so you hope that his progression takes him to an all-star caliber player as well. And then Jared Allen does a little bit of everything, right? He picks it up, you know what I mean? He gets his own buckets. He can score on the post. You know, he's very versatile. So he isn't a player who's going to need the ball, which is, you know, which is great for that team. So I guess we'll see how that plays along. You know what I mean? We'll see. You know, how it plays out for him in the next, you know, 2-3 years. But I think the Lords is going to grow if he continues to play really good basketball.
Right. Let's see if can we hear you now?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yes, but you're just low.
In the house? I'm a little low. Let me turn this mic up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. How does that sound?
Okay. Now you're coming in loud and clear. Loud and proud.
Too much or
a little bit?
Here we go.
Nice.
Bring it down. Like, how's that?
No, you're
good. You're good. You're straight. Hey, Knicks back in the building.
Yes, sir.
In the building.
So
I hate technical difficulties. You know what I mean?
It happens. Listen, man, it happens to everybody. You would look like you. I don't know if I hope you didn't forget. Maybe you did. You look like you was about to say something.
No,
what I was talking about.
What I was saying. I hope this doesn't set us back. But what I was saying, it sounded like Leon Rose or the guys in the front office were playing a dangerous game of chicken, right? Because it's like, all right, let me offer RJ Barrett. You know, let's say he knows the game that Danny Ainge plays. He was like, well, I'll offer RJ Barrett and these pieces and this and this and that, and let's say they take it. You know what I mean? It's almost as though that's what it felt like was going on. It was like, all right, this guy likes to negotiate this way. You know, I'll do this. I'll show him this. And then let's say he takes that offer. And then here we are. So that's all I wanted to say. It almost seemed like it was like these two were playing a game of chicken. And then Danny Ainge goes ahead and he does this, you know, because like you were mentioning, John, as far as the then all of a sudden you signing this guy and then you signing this guy. So I'm taking this off the table and I'm taking this off the table. It was almost like they were having a pissing contest as opposed to like the best trade that you could possibly get.
Right.
Or maybe Donovan Mitchell shouldn't even been like a trade that we were looking for. And that's the thing where I see like the silver lining, like you said, to agree with you, John, that it was meant to not happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I like one of the things I always like is like when we get into the regular season, mid-season, there's always like a disgruntled player or like a team that's not performing as well as they should. And then there's a piece available. And now here we are with 8-9 picks. You know what I'm saying? And young guys, let's say, what's this Cam Reddish doesn't work out. You know what I'm saying? Let's say he does. Like, there's a lot of possibilities. I just believe we should just draft the way we're supposed to and not have to give away 8 bodies and potential future to get a good player. I think a pretty good player, 3-time All-Star. But, you know, I'm not sure where you guys were, but I didn't want to go back to, but that was just the idea, the thought that I had at that moment.
No, you good. Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah. You definitely good on that. And shout out to a couple more people, D's World of Hoops, Marvin's perspective from the other side. Appreciate you, Illmatics. Thank you for being here, rocking with us. Almighty Finesse in the building. Felicia Lee is here. And last but not least, definitely shout out to my guy, Walter Blackman Jr. I'm sorry I didn't shout you out before, and you were like the first message. He's always the first message. I think as soon as the thumbnail goes up, he types in a message. So thank you, Walter. Appreciate you. And I hope your new home, Walter just got a new home, so I hope you're enjoying it and everything's coming together great for you, brother. Salute to you. So being that we are talking about where we're at right now, it is what it is. We're in this situation, and now it's about what's next for these Knicks. So one of the first things that I think the Knicks need to look at, and it's kind of unfortunate. Well, he would be one, but I guess he's going to be number two because I guess they've already tried to explore the Julius Randle market, and it's a little low right now. So we'll revisit it. Don't worry. That's those talks ain't going nowhere. They're coming back.
Right.
But I think it probably is Evan Fournier. That's right, Evan Fournier. We appreciate your efforts, but sorry, man, we might need to get you up out of here.
We'll take it from here. Thank you for all your hard work, but we'll take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Listen, it's not about him being a player who can contribute. He can contribute. But the Knicks team, the way this team is built, what we need right now, and the fact that we're a little deficient defensively, top to bottom. We got a couple guys who can play defense, but not everybody is solid. You know what I mean? So a guy like Evan Fournier on a team like the Knicks, who's not a win now team, you can't even say they're a playoff team yet. He just doesn't fit our system. He's a good player for somebody else. And I think
I like Fournier off the bench, but he's too expensive to be a bench player also.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's one of the reasons,
I mean, when you have a situation like that, you got to move them. And like I think there's a couple teams out there that might be in the mix for a guy like Fournier and his services. Got a slide.
What do we get back for him?
Put up.
And that's always my thing. It's just like we got to package something else with him. You can't just send them out like a straight up swap. Right,
which is one of the reasons why he's 20. What did he get this next season? 20 mil?
18,
something like that.
18. I thought it was 16, 18.
Yeah,
he's under 20, but wasn't. And he also was one of the best shooters in the league this season, this past season, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, definitely.
So he has
second half. He was,
right, which is why I like him off the bench. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure how he would go with our second unit, and then we put Cam as a starter this year, but I'm not really sure what we get for him either. You know what I mean? But yeah, who do we get for that guy? Like, how does that look? What do we get in return?
Well, let's do this. There's a slide that we could put up that shows teams' 3-point percentages. Hopefully, it's kind of small, guys. Hopefully, you can see it. But look, this is the and you get, for us, we can't see the top part, but it's irrelevant to us anyway. The top teams that have good 3-point percentage, they don't need Evan Fournier. So just if you scroll lower and look going from the bottom up, look at the playoff teams or contention teams. Toronto might be a team that could use Evan Fournier. Their percentage from the three is 34.9. It's league average. It's the lowest part of the average. But, the point is there that, maybe that's a team that could use a guy like Evan Fournier, a sharpshooter. Another team that I think is interesting is who actually is, let's see, where did I just – Denver Nuggets. I think the Denver Nuggets are an interesting team. Now, granted, we know Denver's got some hurt players that are coming back. Yeah, so they might be able to fix that on their own. It's tough. Yeah. They might be able to fix it on their own. But Toronto might be interesting. I also think, which is kind of surprising, it didn't seem that way, especially in the playoffs. These are regular season numbers, but I thought Milwaukee struggled from the three in the playoffs.
They did.
So I think there's somebody who could use Evan, but in the regular season you wouldn't notice it. They were high throughout the year.
It was because of the injuries.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Injuries played a huge role, but they also just say that one more time.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just saying it was the injuries that I don't even know what I was trying to say. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I don't know where
No,
it's
you
it,
good.
but you're right. There was the injuries that played a part in last year's season, but more importantly, what they've done so far in the offseason is they picked up a lot of 3-point shooting, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like they stacked
So
up
it won't be
already.
Milwaukee.
So it won't be
Right.
Milwaukee. Toronto's
Mhm.
a good choice. And then the obvious choice is a combination of potentially like a trade with the Lakers, right? In order to offload a Westbrook contract, right? And so you
Well, that's
look
the
at
talk, isn't it?
Toronto, that is
Mhm.
the current talk. We don't know if that's going to actually come to play. But in essence, what you want to do, and this is the reason why I'm always talking about Evan Fournier as a potential option for other teams, because he's not a fit for the New York Knicks, but he could be a fit on a different team, depending on the leadership and veteranship of those particular teams he may go to, right, in a trade. He is not a guy who's going to be able to run a fast break with you. You know what I mean? He's slow footed, right? And then he's a liability on the defensive end. What he's good at is off the pick and roll. He can shoot it. He can make his own shots from time to time. And then he's a good corner 3-point shooter. Probably the best he definitely is the best shooter on our team. So I think there's a need there would be a need for a player like him. So we should be able to get something in return, whether it's a player and a couple of draft picks. Ideally, that would be what we share out for him, right? We shell out Fournier potentially with another player, maybe a Deuce McBride, you know what I mean? Before we can get back some needed assets, maybe a player and a couple of draft picks. That's what I'm looking for.
If we're talking about the Lakers, so what I thought I saw was with the Lakers, they talk about Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, and I think a couple picks going to LA for Russell Westbrook. And what I don't like about the Russell Westbrook is we would do that just to buy him out, and then what are we doing there? Like, you know what I mean? It just seems a little weird unless they actually ended up keeping Russell Westbrook, which would be exciting for Knicks fans, but I'm not sure how that would fit. But that's what it sounds like they were. They saying the Lakers are interested in Julius and the contract of Evan Fournier, but they get 3-point shooting with him. And so I don't know what the Lakers plan on doing with him, but I felt like the Lakers had a problem with scoring last year also because Westbrook was a horrible shooter last year. I think statistically it was his worst year in the league. But at least, and I think the problem with Westbrook is that, you know, you have this guy who's so great and dynamic. Like they didn't know what to do with him. It just seemed like he was running around doing whatever. So, and I don't know what that means if he actually played for the Knicks, but that would get us rid of two players that we would kind of want to move, which would be Julius and Evan Fournier, which would be a dream. But then how do we fill those gaps? Because now you move Obi Toppin as a starter, who comes off the bench behind him? And I think Cam is probably too small to be a power forward. They say he could possibly be a stretch four. But then there's more moves right before the season. It's just like, how would that play out?
If they were to make a trade with the Lakers, I think they would have to include a sign and trade deal that would include Carmelo Anthony, you know what I mean, coming back to the Knicks. I don't know how that would play itself out.
It would be fun.
It would be cool, but again,
off the bench.
These guys are older, you know what I mean? He'll have to play off the bench. Knowing Tibbs, he would want a magical season for Melo, and he may try to start him over,
I didn't consider that, but he probably would. He probably like, yo, Melo, you start. And he'd be like, well, what are you doing?
That's the hesitancy, right? And that's the problem that we run across because we don't know necessarily how Tibbs will run this particular team. He's going to go with what he knows. And if he believes in Melo, if he believes that Melo still has game offensively, he'll probably try to put him in front of Obi Toppin, and that's the problem.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
What do you guys think of? Because I just feel like the signing of Brunson was almost like a slap in the face for Tibbs. I just feel like that's not the Tibbs kind of player. Short point guard, right? It seems like the front office is not doing what Tibbs wants. Like the team just got a lot younger. Right, we just kept all these assets. Like, what's happening with Tibbs moving forward? Is this the make or break year for Tibbs? Because he's got to coach young guys because that's like pretty much all we have. If he did get somebody like Melo, You know what I mean? And he started him. Like, what does this year do for Tibbs?
Yeah, I mean, this is the next. I mean, let's not get it wrong. There's a lot of family connections with Tibbs and the Brunsons, right? They grew up together. He's been a mentor to Jalen his entire career, you know, from a youngster when he was in Villanova and when he got into the league. So he's sort of been sort of an uncle figure, you know what I mean? So Tibbs has a good relationship with Jalen Brunson. So there is that. There is going to be that chemistry. They brought in his dad to coach the team, to help coach the team. So there is some inner circles working in there. But I think it's important to realize that we have to continue to bring talent to this team because that should be what outweighs itself in practice, right? It shouldn't be someone's clout, someone's clout within the NBA. Like if a Melo comes in, it shouldn't be that takes him over the edge in front of an Obi Toppin, right? But we don't necessarily know that because when you look back at the history of how Tibbs ran a lot of his teams, you know, he would play some young, but he would always find a vet or two that he would play, you know, serious minutes, right? Like you have your D Roses of the world. He plays them heavy minutes, you know, and that's Taj Gibson.
Not heavy minutes, so that's Taj Gibson, but
at 20, 22 sometimes, man. That's a lot for an older guy, you know what I mean? So, and you know, if we bring someone like Melo, there's going to be a defensive struggle off top, right? That's off rip. Obi hasn't even gotten enough minutes to know what he can do. He's capable of doing defensively. We know that in his 15 to 18 plus minutes that he probably rounded out the end of the season with, he got beat a lot. He was under average as a defender. So there's a lot of holes to build from. And so for me, I would prefer to start the season with Randall because at least you know what you get defensively. He's a 20, 10, and 5 guy, right? His entire career. He may be a knucklehead. He's a knucklehead, but he defends his position well. And that's, for me, important because now you go into the season with a Randall, you allow him to build up his stock. So in case there is a need and there's an opportunity to move him, you can move him. At this moment in time, we don't have that opportunity. Cats ain't teams ain't calling us looking for Randall. And that's part of the issue.
That's not.
You know what I mean? So,
they're not. It's incredible. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But here we are.
True.
Right?
You know, it is what it is. It's just something we're going to have to deal with. That's why I think, you know, the Knicks got to be smart and build up our players, build up, you know, the youth, the young guys got to play. Randall's got to play. And Jalen, to your point about Jalen Brunson being here and that being a Tibbs guy, I don't know if, like, height-wise and defensively, he's not a Tibbs guy. True. But I think Tibbs really knows Jalen Brunson. He knows he's a bulldog. And I think, honestly, and I think a lot of Knicks fans are going to be really surprised at how much of a bulldog and the way his mentality is when they start seeing him on the court for the Knicks consistently. I think he was kind of muted being there behind Luka Doncic. Like, he played his role. He had moments in the playoffs where you saw, but the first, like, just me seeing how he was going back and forth with Chris Paul and like bullying him and taking him right to the hole. And Chris Paul, even though he's at an advanced age, has been one of the best point guard defensive players.
Right.
Yeah. So like, that was surprising to me. He took it right to him. He was like in his face.
Oh,
so I thought, like,
he took it to Mikal also, though. Let's not get it twisted. Mikal's a young defensive player, and he took Mikal. Yeah, he took it to Mikal too. So, you know.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
But Ron, you remember that game we went to? This is that Tibbs moment for me. Right. I don't know if you remember, but Kemba, because I feel like it's kind of what happened to Kemba is a lot of it is Tibbs' fault, right? All right, older guy, injuries, so forth and so on. They were asking him about back-to-back games and all of these different things, and he said, you got to ask them. And I like that response because that was really what the answer, what the question who it should be directed to. But that first game, Ron, we were watching the game. Kemba's bringing the ball up, right? Because he's a point guard, and that's what point guards do, right? And what did Tibbs do? Tibbs pointed to Julius. Give it to him. And I was just like, why is he telling him to give Where's he supposed to go? The point guard, if you're giving it to Julius at the top of the key, he just crossed half court. Hey, give it to Julius. And I'm like, I gotta see this. Like, so this is part of the reason why, like, all right, is it because he's younger and he's got family and now suddenly he knows how to use a point guard? Like, that's the only part that concerns me, because I felt like a lot of what happened to Kemba was Tibbs' decision. And that's the thing that scares me about that point guard, because he fits the same profile. He might be a little bit taller than Brunson, but still considered short, bad knees, not a great defender. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, it makes me nervous, the whole Brunson thing.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I will. Oh no, go ahead, John. No, I remember my point. Go ahead.
I'm not really sure if Brunson has had a history of bad knees, and I think that's part.
No. That's as far as Kemba. That was his thing.
Oh yeah. So I think right now, because Jalen Brunson's extremely young. I mean, is he just turned 26? He may be even younger than that. He may be 24, 25. So I think he's going to run him ragged, right? Like, you look at D Rose as a young, you know what I mean? I expect the same work. I think the same amount of minutes and work is going to have to play a part with Brunson. Brunson's going to play the bulk of the minutes. So I think it's important to see how that plays out, because realizing that Julius struggled with his efficiency last year, so did RJ in the first half of the season. I expect them to do a sort of a shift in that option. So I think RJ and Jalen are going to get the bulk of the options and the plays, and then Julius is going to have to play the third option, and hopefully play a lot more down in the block where he is the most effective. So let's see.
Is he?
Well,
he was in Kentucky, and he was early on with the Lakers.
See, because I feel like he's spoiled now. See, this is the scary thing about Julius, is that he was running around doing whatever he wanted to do here in New York.
Right.
He's been doing whatever he wanted to do. Now you're going to tell him to get in the block because we got Brunson, and that's the problem that I'm worried about. Like, I don't doubt his talent. I just doubt his attitude as far as where you're going to put him. And now that we have the player we're supposed to have at the point guard, now you got to be a real power forward. You're not bringing the ball up, dribbling and spinning in the paint. Get in the paint already. You know what I mean? Because he's bringing the ball. He's dribbling at the 3-point line. It's like he loses the ball so much. And so my concern is, like you said, he could get on the block, like if he gets down there. So now I don't know if Tibbs have to have a conversation like, hey, look, I'm sorry. You was running around doing your thing, but now you got to get on the block and you got to shoot from here and you got to do this and do that and be a real power forward. If he could do that, I'm excited for Julius to be here with the Knicks. I say it like I'm a big wig in the office or something like this. I'm excited to be here for the franchise.
But that's the conversation that needs to happen, right? In order to move forward and take the next step for the organization's sake and for players' sake, right? Because Julius wants to be an all-star, right? He wants to prove that he can make multiple all-stars games, right? And become an all-star. The only way to do that is to run pick and roll with Jalen Brunson, right? And get your shots from the block, right? Get down there, post up. We'll move out of your way and work off the block. And you could be a stretch 4 if you need him to be, right? It's not like you don't want him to shoot high volume from 3. That's the difference. You want him to take open shots from 3, right? And he doesn't have to take people off the dribble. So now with a Jalen, that conversation has to happen, right? And I think if it doesn't happen, then we have a problem, right? Yeah, because if we start the first season, right? If we start with the first season, when you see Julius running the ball up, we're gonna have issues until we move. So
that's why I said training camp is a big deal, because now we got to run these plays. This is what it's going to look like. And then another thing that I feel like might be an issue, they just paid this dude. What they extended him for $117 million. Then they give RJ Barrett $120. So you know what I mean? It's like, who's this? It's just is it already ruined?
Yeah, I think they already. I think the decisions have been made, because at the end of the season, this RJ became the number 1.
Yeah, that dude was on fire. I like that.
He was number 1.
RJ Barrett. Word.
You know what I mean? And Randall took a backseat to the option, and when he was able to have the ball in his hands. So because they made the decisions last year, I think this year is just massaging the idea of how that's gonna how they're gonna operate. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so paying RJ 4 years and not giving him a max was great for the Knicks. They paid him 107 with incentives, gets you to 120, right? But he's getting paid 107. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
that's a big deal, right? So we're not maxing out on any of these players. Even Randall's deal wasn't a max deal, right?
Right.
What he's making per year is pretty much where he needs to be, and it's average amongst NBA professionals. So I think Leon and those guys have done a magical job when it comes to the contracts. Same with they re-sign Mitchell Robinson. They didn't go max on Mitchell either. So I think it's important but you know what I mean? That's a plus on that end. You know what I mean? And so I think it's just a matter of moving into the season, seeing what training camp looks like, see who's going to be our starting unit. Can you move Evan before the beginning of the season? Because if you don't move Evan, you have a logjam. You got Grimes, you got D Rose, you got Barrett, you got Cam, you got Quickly, right? That's 5 to 6 players all playing the same position. We got to make room for someone to grow within.
Would you like it if we move him for a pick, for a future pick?
Yeah,
second round?
I don't mind that in cash considerations just to make. Yeah, look, I'm down for whatever. Right. I think at this point we need to make a decision about going a little younger and being able to be better defensively first and foremost. And then from there, we'll figure out what the shooting looks like.
Right.
Because again, that's the bench starter roles, right? Those guys aren't going to get, like, if let's say Fournier leaves, who takes over is either going to be Grimes, who is showing to be a better offensive player than people thought he would be coming out of college, or a Cam who has all the potential in the world but still hasn't had the opportunity to show it.
Right.
I think it's going to be Cam because I think McBride, I think, is a height issue there.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah. I don't think McBride can break people off the dribble, so that's a concern for me.
No, not Deuce, but Grimes. Grimes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Grimes. Yeah.
Grimes. Yeah. So, let me answer your question because I don't think I did. I also think that another thing that plays into it real quick, with Tibbs and how he used Kemba, and why it won't happen with Jalen, is because we were coming off the high of the most improved player season and the 4th seed going into the playoffs in a way in which Tibbs was running a lot of offense through Julius, and it worked. However, after going through this past season and running the offense through not only Randall but RJ, and being in those big situations, turnovers happening at the wrong time. It went from I love to bring this up every time. In the past, it used to be teams would double team Julius Randle because they couldn't stop him. This past year, they were double teaming him because they knew he got frazzled and he would turn over the ball. So it turned into one of those situations. So I don't think you're going to have to worry about any of that Kemba Walker treatment for Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's going to have the keys and he's going to be running with it. And I think he's going to make everybody better. I believe that 100%, that he'll make everybody else better. Let me do this real quick. Shout out to, because we're getting on that hour mark. We'll be getting out of here soon. I just want to get into last topic. Shout out to the chat once again. Appreciate y'all. Hopefully y'all saw I put the link in the chat to check out Guard Up Knicks. If you guys aren't familiar with Guard Up Knicks, it's a great podcast. Andre is one piece of the trifecta. It's him, it's his brother Apollo, aka Josh, as well as Rick the Ruler, his cousin. They have a really good podcast called Guard Up Knicks, and they give it to you real. And like the dynamic me and John have, they got that family thing. So they really they shoot in the breeze, man. It's a real good conversation. Right. I think you're gonna enjoy it. So definitely check them out. Click that link. Let me see if I can find it. I'll see if I can pin it to make it a little easier for people. Boom, I got it. There you go. It's pinned, so it should be easy to find. Let me give a shout out to the chat once again. Salute to you guys. I think I already said JJ, but if I didn't, JJ, what's up? Dope Soul Sports Talk is in the building. Steph, the Queen, is in the building.
What's up,
D-Ras
Steph?
is in the
You
building.
know Steph.
Yeah, you know Steph.
Yeah.
D-Ras is in the building. Be Civilized is here. Soldiers of God is here. Francisco Carrillo is in the building. Mozilla is here. Paris Doug is in the building. Appreciate you so much, man. Thank you guys for tuning
That's
in
a
and
nice
rocking with us.
accent. Francisco Garcia. You got the
Hey.
whole, you know what I mean? That roll
Oh,
off
man,
natural
you know how
right
it
there.
is. You know
Just
how it
flows, man.
Mozilla, Cormega, let me see, Silver Surface here. Miguel P is in the building, and Quality Jumper, my guy. Salute to you, brother. And you know, Bricks Nation is here too. But last but not least, give a shout out. Thank you for the generous super chat. I see you put in a super chat. My guy Ron Cleveland, man is in the building. Appreciate you, brother. Good to see you, man. We got to get you on here one day. We'll talk.
That'll be dope.
Anyway, yeah, and Jarvis LaFleur, my New Orleans is in the building.
Pleasure.
What's going on? Greg is in the building. What up, Greg? All right, man. Thank you guys.
We're having
man.
a great time here,
tuning in.
chopping it up. You know, with Dre from God Up Knicks. You know, definitely check out their podcast. Ron said, he pinned it. Go over, subscribe, hit that like button. You know what I mean, and
I appreciate
you know,
you guys
top
for
bell.
that.
You know what I mean, for you can always get the responses right to your inbox on YouTube, and help
That's
them out,
correct.
man.
Yeah.
Get that algorithm up. You know what I mean?
Yes, facts. Get that algorithm up, man. Hit that notification bell. Make sure you hit the all, because sometimes you don't hit the all, you don't get to see every video that drops, and you're like, yo, I haven't seen nothing in a month from these dudes. They dropping every day, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Not every day. I would like to, you know.
Yeah, I hear you though.
And we also have the intro video. I think you Ron, you in the intro video that we got on the page. You know, when you go on the page and the land the video.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can add that to my community tab and bring that video back. That video was dope, by the way. Y'all did a good job on that.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
Nice.
that I was like, I made sure you was there because, like you said, that was the day we met, and that was like the first game. Everybody walking to the stadium and all that. We had a good time, man. Yeah, and I just thought about, I was like, Ron's in there. I don't know if you knew it. I don't know if I had the info to tag you, but yeah, you in that intro video, man, for sure.
No, it was dope, man. I appreciate that. And let me tell you one quick thing before I get to the next topic and we get out of here. These dudes are a blast, man. I had a great time watching the game with them because I wasn't sitting too far from them, and I was sitting like right in front of State and Eru. You could imagine how these dudes were going.
Oh, forget it.
State and
Eru.
Oh man.
And I'm always arguing with State, and I love arguing with State. He be saying some of the wildest stuff. Just be like this. Would you say State? Like, you know, we go back and forth, so that we had a blast.
So I'm just trying to set that scene. Imagine, because Dre's a funny personality, man. He be going at it. He was mad. He was like, you know, getting on Julius. So I got these guys on one side, State and Eru in front of me, and I'm sitting right next to Kevin freaking McLeod.
Man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We got to do that again. We got to do that again.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that was a dope time. Well, we are doing it again. I don't know if you guys can make it. We you know, Nothing But Knicks is gonna be getting a section together for opening night again.
I'm on it
against Detroit.
I'm on it.
All right. So before we get out of here, man, I just wanted to get y'all takes on, like, this is our roster. This is who we go into war with, and I'm okay with that. But we do have to fill it out a little bit. We might decide to still make a change because we are, like John keeps alluding to, we got a glut, like especially at the guard spot. There's just, you know, there's a lot of guys. So they might have to make a trade to move some of these dudes up out of here, or they might just say, we'll work it out at some point throughout the season, but we got to fill out the rest of the roster. Because right now, technically, the Knicks still have 2 spots they got to fill. If you look at the 15-man roster, it'll show you, you'll see Trevor Keels, and you'll see, now I forgot his name, Farron Hunt, right? But they're not going to be on the, they're not going to be on the 15-man roster. Most likely they're going to go down to the G League or what have you. So we got to fill those last 2 spots out. People want Carmelo Anthony here. I know you guys kind of already weighed in on Carmelo. It may not be the greatest fit, you know, depending on how Tibbs would use him. Right. So The other thing that I've seen lately is Daniel Theis. Apparently, there's a lot of interest
Not bad.
that the Knicks have with Daniel Theis. I don't know. Are you familiar with him, Dre?
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
He's a good off the bench guy. High energy, plays defense. I like him.
Mm-hmm. And he can shoot.
He kind of reminds me of the guy we just got, Harkinson or Hartenstein.
Hartenstein.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hartenstein,
Yep.
yeah.
But in actuality, he's better at shooting the three than Hartenstein.
Get out of here.
He actually can,
He is. Yeah,
Theis can shoot
Theis
it.
can shoot the three. He was shooting the three with the
Yeah.
Celtics because didn't he just go back with the Celtics for the second time?
Yeah. You know.
Yeah,
You know how it is. Yeah. But
I like him. I like him. But so the gap that we have is what? Is that the power forward or what's the two positions you said we got to fill?
well, that's
these
the
are
thing.
like last two
Oh.
guys on the roster. You know what I mean?
They're not
So
going to
if
play a lot, you know.
Right.
Oh, okay. So
But
Theis would be
to bring in a
good.
Theis, it's a good move because if you get some injuries throughout the season, you know he's a capable player, right? You know he can
Right.
fit in a system and work well within a system. He's a solid rebounder. He doesn't do much rim protection, but he's a solid rebounder and he can contribute a little bit offensively. So that's a good pickup if they can bring him in. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah. I like Theis, man. Theis got a little grit to him. He's got the good size and he can stretch the floor. I think that would be a really good pickup for the Knicks because regardless, if you can't use him, fine. But if something happens, having that ability to bring him in to help stretch the floor when you're spelling somebody else gives the Knicks a different dynamic that you could say at least having guys like Theis and Hartenstein on the Knicks, we're a different team from the big standpoint. Like we didn't have that before.
Right.
So,
Right. And we still got Jericho Sims back down there too as well.
Damn it. Yeah. I keep forgetting about Jericho.
Jericho is still there. I mean, he's fine for minutes.
I can't wait for Jericho Sims to get that NBA game in him. You know what I mean? I think he's got the bounce. And sometimes I see him, he just everything he does, he's so athletic and natural. I just want him to get that NBA game. I don't know if you know what I mean. It just seems like he's like not there yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even when he grabs the ball, it's like he's losing it. Like he's got to get, I want him to be like that player. Yeah. Sometimes he looks like he's just in there, but I want him to get like the NBA.
He isn't polished yet.
Yeah, he's not polished.
I
think once he gets that polish and he gets that confidence, that kid could be something really serious. Kind of like how Mitchell Robinson, I always felt like that kid could be magical.
Right.
And he's
the only thing that for me.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing for me with Jericho is because he's undersized is just knowing where he needs to be defensively. You know what I mean? Because if he's in good position defensively, he can get a lot more block shots because of his athleticism and not get beat for rebounds. You know what I mean? If he's able to do those little things, he could really define his way into this team, into the roster, into into whatever the 8 or 9 man roster that Tibbs is going to run. You know what I mean? But it's just about being polished. You know what I mean? But I'll say this: we're not going to run into what we ran into with what's our guy with the slippery fingers? I forget his name already. Nerlens Noel. Like he can't catch. He didn't catch anything. Oh my God! I'm so glad he's gone. Like he was good defensively. Like he had his moments where he can, do things defensively, but like the whole idea of having a big that can't catch the ball on the lob kills me.
That drove me nuts.
Right. Let's see if I want to wrap up so we can get out of here. I know everybody's Labor Day. People got to go back to work and stuff. I want people to be able to enjoy themselves. Just a little rapid fire real quick because I see there's a couple questions and I just wanted to touch on a few things real quick. So shout out to Deron Wayne. Good to see you. I know you threw Montero's name in the chat. Unfortunately, I don't think Montero's making a big club. I think Montero didn't show enough in the summer league. He had some spurts where he had a couple good plays, but he really didn't have enough to really even get going. So I think a G League appearance will be really good for him, and the Knicks can really start to evaluate him the same way they kind of looked at Deuce McBride last year. They sent him down. He got some good play down there. So I think that can really help Rafael Montero. So we'll see what goes on from there. Shout out to Parrish Duggar. Thank you for the generous super chat. Appreciate you. He said, we got 4 injury-prone guys. Keep the depth in regards to making sure that we continue to cultivate and put guys on. And I guess you think that we don't have a glut because we got some of the guys we got are injury-prone. Listen, that may be what the Knicks are thinking, and you may be right. But if everybody's healthy and some of these guys don't play, especially with Tibbs, that's tough.
I'm confused, though. The only one right now that currently lives in sort of injury prone, I would say, was D Rose, right? Because
right.
I mean, Cam, but he's also young. Those are the two primarily. But Cam, we don't even know if he's going to play many minutes. You know,
well,
but
he's probably also
talking
about Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish, before he got to the Knicks.
I guess,
yeah, right. It could be Cam and D Rose, yeah. And I don't know if we can say Grimes is injury prone yet, but yeah, I definitely would say D Rose and Cam are definitely very injury prone. So you do want to have as much. That's a good. It's an interesting point. That's
Isn't that why they? I felt like they did sign Jericho Sims because of that. You know what I mean? They got Mitchell Robinson, Hartenstein is behind him, and then Jericho Sims. And I think there's definitely at the center position. I think on any team there's going to be an injury, whether something small or ankle or sometimes these injuries they just come out of nowhere. Sometimes with defenders like Mitchell Robinson, he hurt his thumb one time. It's just like a bunch of different things that can happen where Jericho Sims will get an opportunity to play. And I don't want to jinx these guys and say somebody's that, but this is what the NBA is, guys. Land on somebody's foot, anything. So the depth is very important for this squad.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. And you know what? Two more quick things. Salute to my guy Victor from Knicks Fans Brazil. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here, Victor. Hey, and listen, you yourself, Victor, check out Guard Up Knicks, man. I don't know if you're aware of them. Guard Up Knicks, Andre, Apollo, and Rick the Ruler, man. They got a really good podcast. Type in Guard Up Knicks. It's pinned there. Check them out too, man. I think you really enjoy their programming.
Definitely.
I also wanted to say, I just had Jarvis LaFleur. So this is the question I wanted to get at before we get out of here. He said, question to the panel, do you see Jericho Sims making a transition to power forward, or does he stay at the center? I'm not going to answer it. I got the answer, but, what do you guys think? Dre, what do you think?
That would be fun, but I don't think he has the he seems so raw. Like he right now, center is great for him, but if I don't see him with handle, he doesn't have the handle I think a power forward needs. I don't think he has the touch for shooting that we would need to make him like a stretch four. But I think for him being young, and I think he'd have to be a completely different player for him to be like a power forward. I don't know what you guys think.
John, what do you think?
I could see him running a 4 like a Stoudemire type, right? Like Amari. I think he has that athletic ability. Whether he can polish the rest of his game, like that mid range, free throw line and down in the post, then I wouldn't mind seeing it from time to time. So if they were to bring in, I don't know if they bring in a Theis, right? If they bring in if they bring him in, I would say potentially you can see him in spots. But again, you have Obi there too. So unless they're moving Obi to the 3, I don't necessarily see that happening.
But if they do get, because sometimes they talk about they moving Julius Randle, and I don't know who they would grab. But what if they did move Julius and have Obi and then Jericho? That would be
depending on who they if they decide to bring somebody in too, like who, because that's the thing. You trade Randle, it's coming with some bodies too. It ain't just picks.
But that's the whole Lakers trade. They keep saying there's going to be Julius for what's my man over here?
But then that means it would have to include Melo,
Westbrook.
Right? It would be Westbrook and Melo on a side.
But Melo's not on the squad, right? I thought Melo's a free agent. No,
he's a free agent, but they have the option to sign and trade him. Yeah, because right now you have to make the money work.
Yeah,
you have to make the money work somehow.
Oh, yeah, because Westbrook, what did he get? 47? He's
40 mil. Yeah, he's 47.
It's 47. Yeah. That's a lot.
Got to make up the money. So
that's outrageous.
Julius and Fournier by themselves don't make that money up.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
even think it would be Julius. I think it would be Fournier, Rose, and Cam.
Even that don't make
That
the
makes
money.
it up. And
No, it
still,
does.
yeah, you
Because Fournier's 19, 18 half, whatever. Rose is 14, and Cam is 6. Right?
Rose is
Okay,
getting
so
14
you
a
have
year.
to be
no.
within.
You got to be within a certain. You don't have to
You have to be
automatically.
within a
Doesn't have to
certain
be. You got to be
range.
within a certain amount.
What was it? I think it
Right.
got to be within 3 million. I don't know why. I think it's something
I don't
something
know
like
what
that.
that
But
is,
wait,
though.
Rose is getting 14 million a year.
14. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's got it good, bro. Like, wow.
You know.
I had to look at him
don't
again.
know.
Like,
Hey.
he was doing his thing though. But maybe that's who your boy was talking about with injury prone, because Derrick Rose is always you said
Derrick,
that Derrick Rose is always injured.
Oh, and so okay, I see the guys in the chat. Be civilized say and cash considerations. And Soldiers of God said you just have to be within like 10%.
Oh, 10%. So it's a percentage. For what's
All
that?
right, well,
4.7 million. 47 million. 4.7.
47 million.
Wow.
So
Look at you. Look at Dre over here, Rain Man B. Like
What? You got the numbers.
I hear you, brother. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, that could be what it is. You know, that's something they'll need to look at. I don't know if the Knicks even want to do that, but who knows, man. In fairness, look, as much as we like to see Cam have an opportunity, a real opportunity to play with this Knicks team, I don't know if he's going to get it this year. And if he's not going to get it, do the dude a favor, man. Send him off somewhere where he can play, man. This is his contract here. I just think that
I'm
would
not
be the
with
good
that.
thing to do.
Nah,
I'm
send
not
him
with
where we
that,
get
'cause
the
you
best.
don't know
where
what-
we get the best return.
Right, but if you don't know what he investment on return, you don't know what he's capable of providing for you. You have to see him. You have to
gotta
see
play
him,
him.
But this is
because
the
if he's
thing,
a
John.
good fit,
He won't be, because there's no way that after his track record of the past 3 years not being healthy every single season, that the Knicks are going to invest $100+ million in him. They're not going to, because they would
got
have
to,
to give
though.
him like they may be
You
giving,
know.
even if lowball him, they would still have to give him $80 million. I don't know if they could see giving him $80 million.
it all depends
you-
on who's here and who isn't, right? If you move from Evan, that opens up a lot of discussion. If you move away from Evan, you have the opportunity to do things now. Really, what's holding it up is Evan. That's the logjam. It's Evan. You move away from Evan, you could potentially, move a young, another young player like a Deuce McBride, who's not going to get any minutes with this squad. You know what I mean?
Can
Then
I
you
tell
have
you
like
what
you
I'm sorry.
go for it. Go for it. No worries.
I was just saying that I think that the problem with Cam is more so his motor. I feel like him and Knox have that thing in common. Where Knox had
I say it
everything
all
he
the time,
needed to
you're
be a great player, but his motor. And I just feel like that's the problem with Cam. Playing time, any of that, I don't even think that that's what Tibbs is worried about with him. I feel like it's his motor. He's like one of those players that remind me he like looks good when he plays, but plays when he wants to. That's the feeling I get from Cam Reddish. I feel like he's not playing hard all the time. I feel like he gets on the offensive end, he'll dunk, then he'll jog back real lightly, and he won't really get. It just seems like, I don't know. I just think Cam is just that wild card where you don't know what you're going to get. Even if he gets the playing time, that's what I'm saying. I feel like even if we got Fournier out of there, I don't know if Cam is the guy. But I do agree with you that we have to play him enough to see if I'm correct, if you're correct, or or whatever the case, because he was supposed to be a high draft pick. They said he was ranked higher than his teammates, Zion and
Well,
RJ
not
Barrett.
that Zion, right? I mean, coming
he
into
was
college,
ranked higher than them. I think from high school coming into college.
Right, coming from
Coming
high
into
school
college,
into
Right.
college.
So someplace something happened.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that high ranking.
I just didn't want to. I don't want to forget my point. Here's the other thing that I didn't say. That no, it's not your fault. I just forget stuff. Here's the other thing that I didn't say that is something to keep in mind. One, the Knicks have like 2 or 3. Like I have 3, I think, second round picks in this upcoming draft and 2 first round picks. So you have a chance to, whether or not they draft these guys or not, we don't know. They might move picks and stuff, but you know how it is. But they might bring in some more young talent, right? Here's another thing. This is the big one that I didn't throw out there. This is another reason why I don't think that they're going to give Cam a fair shot, because of the other stuff. Next year, you got to pay Obi and Quickly. Next year is their 4th year. So now their money's up. And if that's the thing, like after this year, you would have to pay Cam, and then that going into the next year, you're gonna have to wind up paying Quickly and Obi. If they're still here, I don't think it's just too much. It's too much money going around. I don't see it, But you're right, John.
Spot.
They should give him a shot.
You play for your spot.
See.
At the end of the day, if you're coming into training camp, right? You have to you have to keep your eye on the most talented players, because you can't. The way you win in this league is having solid wing players, and then you have to have a good, core around those wing players. A solid point guard for sure, but those wing players are going to be everything. Look at Tatum and Jalen Brown. You know what I mean? Like, that builds everything, and then from there you build around them. So for me, it's like you allow these kids to play it out, play for their time, allow them a real opportunity, not to have them come halfway in during the season and play them spot minutes. Because to be honest, at some point, and I forget during, I don't know if it was Fournier who went out with COVID or something, and Cam got some heavy minutes at one point.
Yeah, right.
He looked pretty good, and then got injured.
He did. He
got injured. He didn't lose. He didn't lose minutes because he played poorly. He lost minutes because he got injured. So that's for me is like a telltale sign of saying, let them play for their minutes. Let Grimes, Cam go up against Fournier, see what they look like, or not even. Don't even give them the opportunity. Move Fournier before we start training camp. Allow the kids to battle it out. Because Quick may be the one who comes out above all of them. Quick may be like, yo, even though I'm a smaller guard, I'm better at the two positions than both of y'all.
You're right. I mean, that's fair.
You know what
I do like the fact of having guys play for their minutes and creating that competition, because that pushes dudes. And quite frankly, how many people? I mean, if we're just looking real quick, how many people can really push RJ? Maybe Grimes,
right?
Definitely Cam, because they have that thing. Like, so it's true. Like sometimes you do need that, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out.
And that's for me how it should play out, because Evan is that logjam. I can't keep. He can shoot. That's all he can do. Like that's really all he can do. That's it. That's all he got. He doesn't fit anything else within this organization. So, and I appreciate him for wanting to be a Knick, because not too many players come and want to be a Knick and sign a contract with the Knicks, right? Because the pressure is too much. But we got to make the right decisions moving forward. If he's not a part of your future, move him now. See who is a part of your future.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And thank you. I see Jarvis LaFleur just said he subscribed to Guard Up Knicks. Yeah, that's right. Let's go.
Yes,
Appreciate that.
That's incredible. Thank you, brother, for sure.
Yeah, man. So listen, before we get out of here, thank you to one of the best chats in the business. I'm gonna start saying that now. I'm stealing everybody else's thing. That's right. Thank you guys for being here, tuning in and rocking with us. We appreciate you guys as always. And the chat has been, giving it to us, giving us the info that we're looking for. Killer Cams is in the building. What's going on? Thank you guys for rocking with us. Hey, man, Dre, it's been a pleasure having you. You got any final words? And also, once again, shout out your podcast and where we can check you guys out. And if y'all got a Twitter or whatever, shout it out, brother.
Yeah, Guard Up Knicks, everything. We're on Twitter, Guard Up Knicks, Instagram, Guard Up Knicks, TikTok, Guard Up Knicks, and on YouTube, Guard Up Knicks. We have some videos up there. We got to upload a few more for the new season coming in. I do the artwork. So I'm going to work on some artwork to get for the team. A lot of times I try to hold off on the artwork because you don't know who's moving from here to there, whatever the case may be. If I did a dope piece of RJ Barrett and they be like, oh, he's in the trade, I'm like, all right, there it goes. That's something now. But, it's fun to do this stuff, man. Thank you for having me on with you guys. This is great. Thank you for sending people our way. I just think that's incredible. You guys are dope. Hopefully we could do this game opener. And hopefully, John, you be there this year. You know what I'm saying? There's no excuses for you this year. You got to.
I'm trying. I got a lot of excuses, but I'm definitely trying. I got 4 to be exact. I got 4 to be exact.
Sure. No doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, man.
But that'll be dope. Thanks for having us.
Though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My brother couldn't make it today. He was just up here. I did a barbecue for him. He came to the crib because he came up for his boy's wedding. So Saturday, We did the barbecue. He spent the night. Then he had to leave Sunday to try to get down there. But now the kids back to school, all kinds of stuff. So you know how it is. Like you said,
man.
you got excuses. Good excuses too. Legit joints. So
Right.
he's got a lot of running around to do. So, but I'm glad to be here in his stead and to represent the Guard Up Knicks. So guys, if you can, just check us out. And we have a good time. You could go to the YouTube page and take a peek and see if you like what we got going on over there. But thank you again. You know what I'm saying? Thank you again, Ron and John. It's been a pleasure. You guys are cool. I think I got that hat, John. I think I got.
Oh yeah, you got one of these.
Yeah. I got hats out the wazoo. Because even when I went to that game, I was buying all kinds of stuff. I was like, what
I
they
know
got
you
in
bought
here?
you bought the We Here hat when we was there.
I bought the blue and I bought the black and the blue joint. I keep the we here. So I thought that was a dope.
That's dope, man. Dope. Listen, guys, definitely check out their podcast. I mean, I wouldn't steer you guys wrong, man. They're a real good bunch of fellas, man. They got a real good bond. They're real funny, man. Sometimes I guess you can't. Sometimes you see it, but and there's one day they had me dying. But then sometimes they're professional. They're doing their thing. But I'm telling you, when you hang with these dudes, they hilarious, man. So definitely check out their stuff, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, a good time. John, any final words, brother?
As I always say, thank you to the chat. Appreciate you all. Stay blessed out there. Looking forward to the next one.
There you go. There you go.
Still Knicks fans, man. Legit.
Thank you guys once again. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us. It's a busy Monday night. We got 80 people in here watching, which is incredible, knowing how busy and jam-packed tonight is. Hit that like button if you can. We got 41 likes, man. Let's see if we can get them like totals up. So if you're here still, hit that like button on your way out. Hit that like button. Show your love. We appreciate it. YouTube, they be checking our algorithms, man. We need it. We need it.
Yeah.
So
big shout to Jose the Voice. Big shout to the Voice. Where is he? Is he out there?
There he is. There he is.
Jose.
Thank you.
Like that.
I appreciate that.
Back from vacay.
You know why I appreciate that, Dre? Because Ron be forgetting me sometimes.
No, I was not gonna forget. I just didn't get to you yet, man.
Nah, I'm joking. But thank you so much for being on tonight, man.
No doubt, absolutely. Thanks for having me again, for sure.
That's right. And thank you to Jose holding us down on the ones and twos. There you go. You see, I didn't forget.
Yeah.
I messed that up for you. I'm sorry, man. You supposed to say it first.
No.
I'm sorry.
You good. As a matter of fact, you saved me because I wasn't gonna forget, but just in case I did, I'm good.
Yeah, he was in there.
Right.
But like, there's not. I text him. I told him to say that, Jose. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. We call ourselves the Three Musketeers, La Tres Mosqueritos.
There you go. That's a good one. Tres Moscaritos. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. No, nobody remembers that movie with Martin Short and the three guys, the Three Musketeers. Yeah, they used to say the La Tres Mosqueritos.
They would say
forget it. Nobody remembers that. Whatever. It's cool. Anyway, yeah, once again, thank you guys for being here. As I always say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Knicks fans, we'll be back again. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the Guard Up Knicks family for being here with us. They ain't all here, in person, but they're here in spirit. So salute and shout out to them all. Appreciate y'all. And like I said, we got to work on something where we do this again, get you all here, or even maybe me and John go over to your show.
You guys get on our podcast for sure. For sure,
yeah,
100%.
Definitely, bro.
You show up in the chat, and I really appreciate that too, Ron. For sure, I definitely have you on there because we're gonna crack up, have a good time. I'm the joker of the family, so you know what I mean. Well, if you met my sister, you see like me and her and like a lot of like, but she's not in the basketball, so she won't be able to help with that. So, but we'll have a good time. You come on to the show, man. I really want to come up with some. Me and my brother brainstorm about some stuff we could do, things like that. But if we could get you on the podcast, man, that would be real dope for sure.
No doubt. We can definitely work it out. Definitely.
Think Jose would do the voice for us? Jose, would you?
Oh, Jose's tough, man. Like, I got a
high commodity.
We give him a mask. He be on the screen. He have the mask back there. You know what I mean? Sure.
Yeah, man. Listen,
there you go.
Maybe.
We be like, Jose's here. We here. 100%.
Let me tell y'all, this is the last thing I'm gonna say before we get out of here. I knew these dudes were clowns, especially Dre. Dre is definitely the clown of the bunch. This dude said, man, you know who you look like? And this is him just meeting me. That's how you know he a clown. He's like, yo, you look like Capadonna, man.
Capadonna.
Like, okay, yeah.
It's like, you never heard that before? You never got Capadonna?
I get that. I get that all the time, man. Capadonna from the Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah. Anyway.
That's funny.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Have a great one. Y'all have a peaceful night. Enjoy the last, hour or so of your Labor Day, and we'll check you on the next one, man. Stay tuned.
Yeah, for sure.
Peace.